Yeah. Yeah, baby, yeah. Woo! That's right. Big Michigan victory today on Senior Day. Senior Abdul Rahman was doing them Buckeyes, baby. Big win for number 22 over number 8 as Michigan defeats the Buckeyes. Big win in Ann Arbor on Senior Day as we get ready to finish out the regular season and head into that Big Ten tournament in New York at Madison Square Garden. So, Michigan does get it done at home. Another win in over a top 10 team. So Michigan State goes down to the mighty Wolverines earlier in the year, and now the Buckeyes go down to the Wolverines. So that's a win over number 2, or I think they might have been number 4 when we beat them, but they're number 2 now, and a win over number 8 now. So those are 2 big wins, and then I believe Purdue was number 3 when we almost beat them. So as I said, it was Senior Day, and what better a game to have in Senior Day than against their rivals, Ohio State, and senior Muhammad Ali Abdul Rahman came up big today. He was the Wolverines' leading scorer when Ohio State made a couple of their runs to try to get back in the game. He was huge for us because he hit a couple of threes. He was driving to the basket and basically just giving that senior leadership for a team that's starting to play their best basketball right about the time that we need them to play their best basketball. So what happened in today's game, though? How did we win this? Well, for starters, just like we've done all year long, we took care of the basketball. Michigan only turned the ball over 7 times to Ohio State's 14 turnovers. So that's a difference of 7 there. And that helped, but one of the biggest things, and one of the things that I was actually surprised about, pleasantly surprised obviously, was that Michigan actually shot their free throws today. They were 70% from the line, and guard Xavier Simpson, who, as we all know, has been basically horrible from the line. Like, we're talking worse than Shaq, we're talking worse than Andre Drummond last year, prior to him improving his free throw shooting. Basically, Simpson's been a liability for Michigan from the line pretty much all season, but today he was wonderful, and so was the rest of the team, as they shot 60%, or no, I'm sorry, they shot 70% from the line. So that helped in that 12-point victory too, because the Buckeyes, they weren't so good from the line. They kind of looked like us earlier in the season. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and they only shot 47% from the line. Another reason why today's game was big for Michigan, aside from getting another top 10 win, is because we were actually, I would say this was probably even better than the win over Michigan State in terms of total team defense. They played good team defense. It looked like Michigan Ohio State football game out there in terms of the intensity and people hitting the floor and fighting over loose balls and everything. It looked like it was basically that type of intensity that you would get in a Michigan Ohio State football game. So I was pleasantly pleased with team defense. And the other thing that I think was very important for Michigan, especially as we get ready to go into the Big Ten tournament at Madison Square Garden and then ultimately into the Big Dance tournament in March, is they were able to win today without relying on the 3. Now, they did shoot 23s, and, you know, they were able to knock down I think 7 threes. Yeah, they were 7 for 20, where Ohio State was only like, they only made 5 out of 11 that they attempted. So we still shot more threes than Ohio State did, but we only shot 20, which is down from us when we averaged like 30 and sometimes 43s a game. So we were able to knock them off 74-62 and only shoot 23-point shots. So what does that mean? Well, what it meant was we were doing what I'm saying we were going to have to do come tournament time, and that is that we got production going to the basket, taking the ball to the basket, excuse me, and we also got production down low from Big Mo. So if you could work from the inside out, that opens up wide open looks from three, and that'll be helpful for us as we enter the big dance. And if we could continue to shoot free throws in any resemblance of the way that we shot them today, that also will be huge. So what's the only thing that we didn't beat the Buckeyes in today? The Buckeyes did out rebound us 40-30, so we lost the rebounding battle by 10. But you know, when you win every other statistical category, you can go ahead and lose that rebounding battle and still come up big. So Michigan was ranked number 22. I don't know how far they're going to move, knocking off number 8. It was a home game, but I believe in the tiering system that they have now, when they are basically factoring in tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 wins for the selection committee to decide which wins are more important. I believe a home win, as long as it's over a top 10 team, is still a tier 1 win. So that gives us another tier 1 win over a top 10 team. We beat them at home today, and as everybody knows, we beat Michigan State in their place earlier in the year. Also, speaking of Michigan State, they looked terrible yesterday, but they did come back in the second half and knocked off Northwestern. So coming into today's game, they had the Big Ten regular season conference lead by half a game over Ohio State. So, Spartan Nation, we just expanded your lead for you, and you're welcome. So, basically, I feel good about where Michigan's at, headed into the Big Ten tournament. I think we were anywhere from a 5 to 7 seed coming into today's game against Ohio State. So by winning today, and then if we could take care of business at Penn State and at Maryland to close out the year before we go to New York, and then turn around and at least win a couple games in the Big Ten tournament, even if we don't win it all like we did last year, I think they can move up as high as possibly a 4 seed and maybe even a 3 seed if they go ahead and go back-to-back in the Big Ten tournament. But it's going to be a tall order because Ohio State is pretty good, even though we beat them today. Michigan State, when they play the way they're capable of playing, we know is really good and probably one of the favorites to possibly win it all this year come March. And Purdue has beat us twice this year, and even Nebraska is playing pretty good basketball. They should be in the tournament as well. So, still some work to do, but today's win was obviously important, and they look good doing it in terms of playing good team defense and being able to beat a top 10 team without having to score 1,000 threes in the game. Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman, as I said, led the way with 17 points on senior day for him. His backcourt mate, Xavier Simpson, also had 13 points himself, including making his free throws, which was huge. Big Mo Wagner had 12 points and 7 rebounds, which is kind of a quiet day for him, but he was one of the people that I was talking about earlier that was all over the court, hitting the floor, battling, scrapping, fighting for every possession, and I like to see the big man playing that way. And then Duncan Robinson, who was the hero from earlier in the week with 22 points earlier in the week, only had 4 points today, but he is a large reason why that team defense was so good, and a large reason why the Wolverines were able to slay the Buckeyes 74-62 on Senior Day. Big win for Big Blue. Big win going forward as there's only 2 games left in the regular season. And we will see you guys come Big Ten tournament time live from New York at Madison Square Garden. Until then, go Blue and good riddance.